Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, deck number 544, we're going to talk about Klothys, the God of Destiny. Pretty sure I said that right. 90, 10, 80, maybe 7. Anyway, 3 mana, 4, 5. We got the one of the two color gods. Of course, it is indestructible and has devotion 7. Now, let's read this. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, okay, exile target card from a graveyard. Anybody's, yours, theirs, whoever. If it was a land, you get a red or a green mana. Otherwise, you gain 2 life and Klothys deals 2 damage to each opponent. Now, that is important. Klothys is actually the one dealing the damage. Now, some of these gods we don't want to be creatures. Some of them we do. This is one, for the way I built the deck, I totally want Klothys to be a creature. Now, I'll admit, I'll show you the very first couple cards, and this is gonna, this is gonna show my age here. The very first couple cards when I saw this, because my thinking was, well, we need to make sure things are in graveyards. Everybody's, ours, theirs. We're not in mill colors, so we're not even going to try that. But I thought about the old 2 cards that I played way back in when Ice Age was brand new. Tinderwall. So, Tinderwall, you spend 1 green and you can instantly turn it into 2 red. So, if this is your turn 1 drop, then you can Klothys on turn 2. Orcish Lumberjack, something similar, except this it has Summoning Sickness. So you sack a forest to add 3 mana of any combination. Of course, we're probably going to tap that forest first, right? So we're getting 4 mana out of that forest. And this puts the land in our graveyard. There's a certain point where we want lands in our graveyard, and a certain point where we want anything but. But early on, I would dare say we probably don't have a problem putting the lands in there just because to get another mana. Now, I am running some weirdo stuff like you don't normally see Summon Spirit Guide in Commander that much, but this is giving you a mana and 2 damage. 2 damage to each player, because you're ditching it for the mana, and then Klothys can exile it, and you gain 2, and everybody takes 2. By the way, Klothys dealing the damage is very important, and her being a creature is very important. So we definitely want the devotion clause met, because Grafted Exoskeleton will fall off if she stops becoming a creature, and we can't get the cool, just 2 free infect on everyone. Or if we draw our Chandra's Ignition. Anyway, so a lot of these like Farseek, Rampant Growth, Harrow, Hunting Wilds, Circuitous Route. Now, all of those, they up your land base, and in this deck, you actually get something out of them just being in the graveyard. It's odds are we're not going to use Circuitous Route a second time. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But we can get rid of it, and there's 2 more damage, 2 more damage, 2 more damage. So creature-wise, Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elf, Arbor Elf, Elysian Carotid, Quirion Elves, and then the 2 artifacts of... I'm not using a whole lot of artifacts with the Firewild Border Post and the Altar of the Pantheon. Obviously, the Altar of the Pantheon, definitely one in there. Now, card draw. Here we go. Now, the reds draw and discard. Here again, this is beautiful because it does put a card in the yard that you can in turn exile with Klothys. So, Thrill of Possibility and Tormenting Voice, Cathartic Reunion, Wild Guess. Now, Risk Factor, I really, really like Risk Factor in Yeah, I know it sounds weird, but it's because you can target a player. Yeah. And, you know, you get a second shot at jump starting it. Now, Faithless Looting, Return of the Wild Speaker, and Underworld Breach. Now, Underworld Breach, while not technically a... You can't even tell that's foil. Huh. Underworld Breach, not a card drawing card, but it does give you access to everything you've used thus far. And, you know, that's a pretty good deal. But now let's get into the creature base here. We've got Elvish Visionary, Wall of Blossoms. And I know you're like, what? We're just playing a card to draw a card. But we're in red and green. So we're going to jump all over the place here. These are two good creatures with good comes into play abilities. So what we're going to be focusing in on is the Stampeding Cerro, Stampeding Wildebeest. Now, both of those have to return a green creature, but Roaring Promodox, just any creature. So during your upkeep, it's going to return a creature you control back to your hand. And the Elvish Visionary and the Wall of Blossoms are perfect, but, you know, so is Meteor Golem or Tornado Elemental, because we ain't got no flyers. We ain't got no flyers. Nobody's got no flyers. Acidic Slime, Irreverent Revelers, Reclamation Sage, Ravenous Baboons to take care of that troublesome Gas Cradle or Maze of Ith or whatever it happens to be that is our problem. Do we hit? And even got the Horn Kavu in there as kind of a one shot, you know. It's not bad for two. The Burning Tree Emissary is just, it's a great card. And if you can blink it every turn, sure, why not? Yavimaya Elder's a pretty strong creature. If you'll notice, there's not a whole lot of actual, I'm going to beat you down with creatures. That may have should have gone, Seek the Horizon may have should have gone in with the land, but it's not ramp. You know what I'm saying? It's 4 mana, but it puts the lands in your hand. So, that's why I've got the Seismic Assault in there. Now, Seismic Assault does double duty here because it does provide 3 red pips for Klothys. And it turns, you know, every land you don't need into a shock. And then while it's in the graveyard, it's another mana if you want it. Now, the green assault, if you will, Bear Assault, a Eula's Influence, you know, it's real close to the same card. You discard a land, you get a 2/2. So, it's real close. I've got the Anax in there just because the Devotion thing and Renata. Curd Ape. Gotta have a Curd Ape, right? I mean, that was one of the... I thought about using the actual real Curd Ape art, the original one, but I'm a sucker for foils, y'all know that. Rogue Elephant, not the creature you want to blink. Or is it? If you just gotta have that in the yard, it's whatever, you know. Last creature in Nyxbloom Ancient. Now, keep in mind, this does not work with Klothys, because Klothys does not tap to produce that mana. So, this is only going to work for your lands and creatures, you know. And there's no real shenaniganery here with it, so this is the closest thing to being fair with Nyxbloom Ancient. If that's the thing. You're just tapping lands for 3. Yeah, that's it. Whoa. Rhythm of the Wild. I like not having my creatures countered. And Binding of the Titans. Okay, so everybody's going to mill 3, and then, was that right? Each player, yeah, everybody's going to mill 3. And then exile 2 cards from graveyards for each creature. You gain 1 life, okay. And then you get a land. Sure. Domri, Anarch of Bolas, plussing the creatures, getting the mana, doing the fighty. Gaz Blessing is going to help us draw a card, maybe get some back, maybe help us keep from getting milled. Removal-wise, Elvish Lyrist. I like Elvish Lyrist because it does put a creature in the graveyard, Incinerate. Fire Spout. And I love Fire Spout. Creeping Mold. Shattering Pulse. Return to Nature. Mystic Repeal. Now, Savage Twister is another good one. More than likely, this is going to, just wipe it. And then Rampage of the Clans. Now, granted, Rampage of the Clans, you've got to be careful because we are running, a few artifacts and a few enchantments. So, but, Fireball. Had to have a Fireball, but just because I was like, I think this is the only deck that has red in it that I've run Nyx Bloom Ancient in it. So I was like, man, I gotta have a Fireball, right? We're to the non-basic lands now, and I feel like this is a good starting point for Klothys. This is probably not how the deck will look in a year or a month or whatever. But we have, for non-basic lands, Temple of Abandon, Field of Ruin, Naya Panorama, because let's face it, the panoramas, first off, panoramas are amazing because they are, you got to spend a minute to sack it to go and get your basic, but they also tap for mana, okay? And it puts a land into the yard. That's the reason why I'm playing with the Panorama and Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, just for that. The usual suspects of Rugged Highland, Gruul Turf, Highland Weald, Timber Gorge, the Guildgate, and lastly, Rogue's Passage. So, yeah, I like Klothys. To be honest with you, though, I felt like I got done, but I didn't get done. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I finished the 100 cards, but I didn't exactly, I didn't accomplish everything I set out to accomplish with that particular deck. So, I don't know. I'll probably revisit this one often. But that is number 544. Done and on the wall. I was thinking about it, and once that block down there gets done, it'll be this block right here. So I won't have to walk all the way down, right? I can just go. Anyway, that's my reward for 600 decks, I guess. Because 601 this is the 601 through 700 block. But that is what I've got for today. I do appreciate y'all watching. I'm back on the train now. Back on my bullshit, as they say. I've got two decks complete, and then one. You can probably see the table where I'm. Probably hard to see exactly what it is. You probably saw all the red, so obviously that's a Pooferos over there. By the way, the Commander Social guys did a Pooferos podcast, and it's a deck tech on it. It was absolutely outstanding. Pooferos is kind of hard to, it's one of those decks that you can be original with, but if you want to get any kind of value out of it, they're all going to look alike. Theirs is amazing. But that's what I've got for right now. I appreciate you watching. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.